Hello, this is Jordan, and this is your precious metals video market update. This is being recorded Thursday, December 4th, 2014. And today I want to do a very brief video. We're going to focus on the weekly chart here of gold, silver, which you can see in the middle, and GDX at the bottom. Now, very early Monday this week, several days ago, gold and silver were in an outright plunge, and it appeared that, looking at the charts, that we could be in the middle of a crash type scenario where we could crash down to lower levels very quickly, not necessarily in the same day, but perhaps in the next week or two. We had gold below 1150, silver crashed to the very low 14s. So I think it was about 1% away from printing a 13. And then we got this huge reversal, which you can especially see in the silver chart with the tail there, but not as much in gold. Again, we're looking at a weekly candle chart here. And so there's several things I want to talk about. First, we've been talking about gold needing that final decline to go below 1100, and in that scenario, we could see a real spike in sentiment. And of course, there's the very strong support at 1080, which is a 50% retracement of the 01 to 11 move, and also you have that major support at 1000. And so it made a lot of sense. It continues to make sense that you can see the market go down there. But this is something that people were talking about, not always myself, but other people were talking about for months and months. And so in regards to that final sell-off, focusing on silver and the gold stocks, as you can see GDX at the bottom there, I highlighted the peak from the summer and then the decline to early November. And we can see that silver, for most of the year, it was trading around 19 to 21. Well, in July, it peaked almost at 22, and in less than 4 months, it had gotten down to 15. So it had declined 30% in less than 4 months, from 21 down to 15, and a month later, it even touched 14. And looking at GDX, that was down 40% from August down to the end of October. So that was in a 3-month period. And in less than 4 months, GDXJ declined 50%. So as far as the final sell-off, regardless of whether we've hit a bottom or not, this is evidence that it's already happened. You've already seen a huge decline in recent months. And looking up at gold, we didn't show the percentage there, but it did fall $200 from 1340 down to 1140. So that's pretty significant. And we know that this bear market has been very long. Gold peaked a little more than 3 years ago, and then looking at the other aspects of the sector, the other components, they peaked more than 3.5 years ago, and they've had a severe decline. So the bear market, even if it's not over, it is not very long in the tooth, but extremely long in the tooth. Of course, it could continue, we're not sure. But anyway, to get back to where we are now and focus on the present, it will be interesting to see what happens in the coming days and weeks, and also this month, because silver on its monthly chart has a huge reversal, and it looks very, very bullish. But again, we're at the very beginning of the month, so who knows what will play out. So I want to focus on the weekly charts, because the day-to-day action in the last couple weeks has been extremely volatile. I mean, one day it looks like stocks are going to make a big move higher, and then they start falling apart, and then you look at the chart and think, well, this is going to start crashing. And there's been a couple times it's looked like that to me, and we've got a huge reversal. So that's why I think we have to focus on the weekly charts. And we can see here, looking at gold, the key level on a weekly basis is going to be 1250. And I'm also showing the 80-week moving average there, which is also the 400-day moving average. I love that moving average as kind of a long-term meaning a 1 or 2 year type trend moving average, and we can see that that moving average is at 1285. So looking at gold, if it can rally up to 1250 and then make a weekly close above it, that's going to be a very strong signal potentially that the bear market has ended. And then after that point, it would test that moving average of 1285. But, we can look at the arrows and potentially, that can tell us that, maybe we've already seen a retest. There's a bottom and then a retest. So I'm not saying that we've already seen the bottom, but I'm just pointing out potentially what could be playing out here. Perhaps we're seeing some kind of a retest this week. But, and looking down at silver there, the key for silver is going to be, can it make a weekly close above that red line, which is just below 18, kind of in the mid to upper 17 area. And then looking at GDX, that has important resistance at 20. Also GDXJ, that's not shown here, but that has important resistance at 30. With respect to GDX and GDXJ, focus on the 50-day moving averages, see if the market can get above those on a daily basis, then see if it can close above those. So that's key resistance. 20 for GDX and 30 for GDXJ. Another thing I want to mention, I don't have the chart, but if you plot gold against foreign currencies, which I've done in past videos, that yesterday broke out to a 9-month high. And so gold is very strong against foreign currencies. Now, it's mostly because the yen is super, super weak, but it's a breakout, and it reached a 9-month high, and it's only about 3% away from reaching a 15-month high. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm simply pointing out that gold is showing some strength against foreign currencies, and that means that a big reason gold hasn't moved up that much in U.S. dollars is because of the U.S. dollar. So we have to keep all these things in mind, and at some point, if the dollar gets a little bit weaker for a little while, we could possibly see a big rebound in precious metals. So I know that's a lot to take in for one slide and one video, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the coming days and coming weeks. Focus on these resistance points that I've laid out here. And if gold and silver can make a weekly close above those levels, mid 17s, upper 17s for silver, 1250 for gold, if it can make a weekly close above those levels, that's going to be very, very significant, and it could mark the end of the bear market. That's all for today. You can check out my work at thedailygold.com. You can contact me, Jordan, at thedailygold.com. We have a free newsletter and a premium service. You can sign up for the free newsletter by putting your email address in the box, which is at the top right portion of the dailygold.com website. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you again next week.